welcome everybody. Thank you for joining our April PD webinar, where today's focus is going to be Earth Day Every Day, where we want to cover how to help evergreen your facilities and career with sustainability training from IFMA. Just to cover a couple of housekeeping items, we don't forget to like us, share us. This is the best way for us to reach other FMs like yourselves. Also, let us know where you are watching us from. We love to see where everybody is watching. Thank you, Kim, for popping in. Kim is also joining us today to help cover the SFP, sustainability practices, and kind of everything that we're going to cover today.
Yeah, thank you, Gail. Hi, Kim Coffey. I'm joining you from Houston, Texas. Gail is in Houston as well, but it's a really large area. I'm actually in Cyprus. How about you, Gail? Where are you?
Down in Manville, a little further
Manville.
south.
Yeah, that's why we always say Houston. We're very happy to join you. We are celebrating Earth Day this month. However, Earth Day should be every day. So let's go ahead and go to that next slide. And let's talk about IFMA. If you're not familiar with IFMA, who are we? Well, first of all, we are an association for facility managers, and our vision is to lead that future of the built environment, making the world a better place. And hopefully, after today's webinar, you will understand why we say to make the world a better place. Our mission is to advance that collective knowledge, to show value and growth for the facility management professionals so they can perform at their highest level. They can connect with each other from over 100 different countries. We've got actually over 23,000 members now globally with 139 chapters.
So like we'd mentioned, today's focus is going to be the SFP. We want your end goal to always be striving to be a master in your profession, and that's going to be the CFM. You'll see kind of along the way, the SFP is part of earning your like mastership, if you will. So this will be what we will focus on today. So let's just jump right into.
Hold on. Oh, I was going to say, before we go past the slide, the other thing that's important is to understand that IFMA has training, no matter where you are. If you're a beginner, the essentials is perfect for you. If you're a little bit more skilled, you've got a year's worth of experience in facilities, the FMP, but we also have individual courses that cover each of the 11 core competencies that for the facility management profession. So that's why we have this slide here. We want to show you there is a natural progression and that IFMA can meet you wherever you are in your training needs and your career.
Yes.
Now we can go past that slide. All right. I don't know if anybody else likes these. I love the Wordles. When we're looking at Earth Day and we say Earth Day is every day, look at what our vocabulary is. Gail, do you see any words in here that you want to focus on?
Recycling, energy consumption.
Yes. Yes. Carbon neutrality, transportation. I see law in there, biosphere, emissions. There's so many different words, and all of this can be impacted by the facilities that you, as a facility manager, run.
And I think I have a little fun fact that buildings emit about 40% of carbon emissions. Yikes.
That's a lot of an impact on the environment. So if the profession changes how it operates and maintains those buildings in a more sustainable fashion, just think of the impact that that can make. Let's go on to that next slide.
So I'm sure you're asking, where do you start? The first question is going to be, what is your company culture? Do you already have something in place that maybe you're just unaware of? That would be a really good point to start with, and then measuring and defining that success. Am I strong in the foundations of FM? Excuse me. So we're actually going to cover a little bit of that as well. And then, are you ready to lead? Are you ready to start making that impact and be the person who is ready to push your organization forward in all things sustainability? And then again, yes, influencing that culture to be setting the example so that you can move your building, your company, your organization into sustainable thought.
Yeah. So your starting point, I'm just going to maybe say it in a different way, Gail, because I think you covered it beautifully. First of all, what is your environment like at work? What's the attitude toward being more sustainable? How do you need to phrase it? Do you need to phrase it on it's going to help us save money? Do you need to phrase it that it will give us better corporate social responsibility? You know, what is it that would help you get buy-in from your C-suite, but also from the people in your building? You may have folks in your building that want to know what are our sustainable practices. Do we have it? So, all of that should be something that you look at when you're starting with sustainability. And as we go into the next slide, we're going to see that there's a jumping off point if you are at that beginning area. You say, you know what, I really need to better understand what are just the basic concepts of sustainability. IFMA has a standalone course that covers just that. If you notice to the right, there's about 5 hours of study time involved. Please note that everything, when we say how many hours, it depends on the learner. You may learn quicker, so maybe it's 4 hours for you, or it may be 7 hours. Either way, that's okay. This is just an average. Once you've gone through and you've completed this, first of all, you're going to be learning those concepts on water, energy, materials and consumables, waste, which is really important if you start looking at your carbonization footprint or carbon footprint, your workplace, site management, all of that. So when you learn about these concepts and you pass the final assessment, which all of this is self-contained in the online access that we have for you, you will receive a digital badge that shows that you've gone in and learned about these topics. But let's say you might want to go a little bit further. Gail, what do you think?
I think you should get the credential then. Again, this is what Kim had just mentioned. It's all online, it's all self paced. We do provide everything that you need to earn your SFP. So you'll see we kind of break it down into 3 chapters. I'm sorry, 3 units, but it is a total of 12 chapters. A flip book is available. And if you'd prefer a downloadable PDF, that is also a way that you are able to read through the material. Each chapter will have a final assessment at the end. And then once all 12 chapters have been completed along with their final assessments, at that point, you'll be able to submit your application and earn your FMP. There are progress check questions just to ensure that you are understanding the concepts that are being discussed. Flashcards, FM glossary, and case studies, again, just to help you ensure that everything that you're absorbing, you're actually understanding and can start applying those concepts. I know 46 to 67 hours of potential study time might be a little scary, but as Kim mentioned, it's on average. So maybe you started with the sustainability standalone course and now you're moving over to the credential. You're going to see a little bit of duplication, if you will. But this is where it's going to go way further into the concepts of water management, waste management. It's really going to cover fully all of those concepts. So I think when you are ready to earn your credential, this would be a very great starting point to get that.
And
Yes.
and something before we go to the next slide, you kind of made me think about it, Gail. If somebody starts with the sustainability course and then they're like, give me more, I really want to master this, and you enroll in your SFP program, IFMA will give you credit for what you spent on that sustainability course. So you may not be ready yet to go for that lifelong credential. When you are, if you've gone through the sustainability course, you're not out any money. As Gail said, it is some of that information is going to be here because we don't assume and we don't require that you start with that standalone course in order to enroll here. But what you're going to find is it's going to reinforce what you've learned in that sustainability course and then help you apply it in the next section. If we continue on to the next slide. This is a little bit deeper dive into what the credential covers. You may have heard circular economy. You may have heard about the UN's SDGs, those sustainable development goals. Those could be really important to your organization and be a great way for you to get buy-in for some of the changes that you want. The 12 chapters that Gail mentioned are broken into 3 different units. So you have an introductory area and then analyzing sustainable solutions. It's not what to think, but how to think. that we focus on. Next slide, please.
And then we also say, in order to fully appreciate the information that you're going to be learning, we want to make sure that it aligns with operations and maintenance that you currently do for your building, for your organization. The day-to-day changes that you can make, simply HVAC operations and maintenance. This is going to show you different concepts that you can immediately start applying whenever you're going through the material. Same with energy fundamentals. So it's just going to be a great way to help you align the concepts that you're reading and learning with what you're already doing.
I would say operations and maintenance is almost like the peanut butter and jelly of facility management. It all comes down to your operating and your maintaining your buildings. And this is giving you the tools that align with that. But that's also why we say you need to be strong in the foundation of facility management, because we're not teaching you operations and maintenance. We're assuming you've got
Correct.
that knowledge, right?
Yes.
And as we go into that next slide, that's kind of where, when I mentioned before, we teach you how to think, not what to think. We're going to help you understand how to build a framework. That framework includes developing a strategy and identifying initiatives, creating a communication plan. You've got to get buy in, but you also need to communicate what you're changing, why you're changing it, and then reporting. Be able to report. First of all, analyze where is your building right now? What is your energy consumption? What is your waste production? What is your impact on the landfill right now before you make any changes? Because that's the biggest thing we see is all these changes get made, but you didn't do any pre-measurement because you want to show the impact that the changes that you've made have, and that's the reporting part. So this is going to be your framework regardless of what facility you're in, if it's a LEED certified facility, or if it's one that's been around since, some of us 1960s and needs a little bit of TLC to help it get to that sustainable operating and maintenance side of things. Next slide.
And this is where the strategy meets the implementation. So you have the power to drive sustainability, all the practices that you're going to learn, but you will need that knowledge and training to support your ideas and initiatives. And whether you start with the sustainability course or jump right into the SFP or lead into the SFP, all of the training is going to help you just be that change factor for your organization to start leaving less for Earth to, be able to come back from and just make the world
We
a
only
better
have one
place.
Earth, Gail.
Yeah. Yeah. This is
Mars
true.
might be an option, 20 generations down the road or something, but right now we are all on the same planet.
Exactly.
And I promised you before this webinar would show you why IFMA feels we can, through facility managers, make the world a better place. And I love that last bullet there. I
I
don't know
was
if
just
anybody's read
looking at
it.
that.
Yeah,
Yep.
turn your hope for the future into action for today. So, in your process of being able to have strategy, meeting, implementation, a lot of times that can be an area that people struggle with. So, to help, IFMA has developed SFP learning labs. This is not teaching you through an instructor the material that you're reading. This is helping you apply the concepts and the strategy that you're learning about. It is facilitated virtually by a live instructor, and that live instructor is an IFMA qualified instructor. We do not record these because at the heart of it, it's about your unique situation, working through case studies with others who are your peers, learning from those peers as much as you will learn from the instructor. If you do have questions about the material you've learned, you have an opportunity to discuss that. But again, the instructor is not saying, okay, page 1, chapter 1, this is what you're learning. It is optional. You do not have to enroll in a learning lab in order to be successful. But if you do, this will help you stick to a plan. A lot of times, procrastination can derail you and you'll have the best intentions. But if you're in the learning lab, there are 12 interactive sessions. Why? Because there's 12 chapters, right? So it's about 90 minutes a piece. Again, it's not required, but what a great way to connect with others in facility management and to gain the benefit
Exactly.
of an instructor.
And you'll be able to share how your current operations does things to see if it aligns with other companies, or maybe you'll have ideas that somebody else is already doing that you can take
Mhm.
back to your organization. Yeah, that's the purpose of these, is to be able to interact and just cover the high level concepts and then kind of act it out. So like Kim said, you're not here to be taught what's covered. You're here to start implementing and taking action to make
Mhm.
sure that you read everything. Oh, yes, I did understand that.
And then you can build that framework we talked about. Next
Exactly.
slide.
So, who should pursue the SFP? Of course, we think every facility manager, because we do only have one earth. We do want to make sure that we're leaving as less, well, more for the next generation, right? And taking less from it. But maintaining and understanding that you do have a full foundation of facility management before you just jump into the SFP. Like Kim mentioned, we don't want to help you teach you project management. You should already have that under your belt, and this is just going to help you learn the sustainable practices to start implementing for the basics of FM.
Yeah, and Gail, I'm going to take them back mentally. Daniela, we don't need to move to a different slide. To the FMP on that progression, remember we had essentials as the beginner. That next one was the FMP. That covers these four areas here, operations and maintenance. And that is where we train you about a deeper dive into operating and maintaining your facility. Finance and business, that's from a facilities perspective. You've got to be able to work a budget, plan ahead. Leadership and strategy, that doesn't mean we teach you how to be a leader. That means when you're managing a building, regardless of what your title is, you're going to be working with various departments. Maybe it's HR, maybe it's IT. And you need to be able to clearly communicate what changes are needed, why you're doing something, and get their buy in. And then, speaking of changes, you've got to be able to manage those projects. But this project management isn't like PMP or PMI. This is from a facility perspective. What kind of projects are you going to run into? And how can you run those successfully where you're covered? You won't have scope creepage, or if you do have anything that you need to add, you know all of the right forms to do. It's extremely helpful. So, just letting you know that if you are listening to me, you go, yeah, yeah, Kim, I've got all of that. I know it. Then I'm challenging you. Take the SFP, dive into it. Next slide, please. Gail, I'm going to let you
Yeah.
do this one.
So this is a great representation. Kim mentioned earlier the lead AP. These are certifications that we wanted to kind of just brush up on, make sure that we understand what the meanings of them are. So you see certificates, building, and people. So
Mhm.
lead is for the building. Well AP focuses on the people. The SFP is going to help the facility manager understand the concepts. So whenever you are a lead, or I'm sorry, when you're in a lead certified building, the building is certified, showing all the criteria that it met in order to be lead certified. The best thing about earning your SFP is now you actually have those concepts under your belt to be able to help maintain that lead certification. So if that person, if somebody leaves that helped get that building certified, that's okay. It's not the person that leaves that takes that certification with them. The building will maintain that certification. The SFP is just a great way to help you have that like step above, because you'll understand the concepts and what the end goals are for minimizing your carbon emissions and all of the things that are covered.
Well, and Gail,
Um,
I would even go further,
mhm.
not just that individual, but I think the whole team should have their SFP or at least take the sustainability course. We're talking about Earth Day every day, and it's not only maintaining, but obviously you're going to have to replace. So the question is, do you repair or do you replace? If you look at it from a sustainable way, you should be looking at those products from cradle to grave, can help you determine what's the best purchase. Do you purchase or do you repair? How is that going to be if you do repair, or sorry, if you replace that item? what happens to the item that you no longer have in your building? If you're looking at your carbon footprint, what you do with that, how it's disposed, is absolutely going to impact you. So when you find that the reporting that you're having to do for your facility, this SFP is really going to help with the perspective, and you need your whole team looking at it from a sustainable perspective.
I will
So,
say it's a lot easier to have everybody on board starting at the same starting point
mhm,
than trying to herd kittens and having and hoping that everybody understands where your vision is going. So yes.
absolutely. Again, so you're not fighting the tide, everybody swimming in the same direction.
Yes.
So that next slide is what other ways? Okay, some of the things that we've talked about, Gail, we've talked about the sustainability course. We've talked about a professional credential. It's a lifelong credential. Um, there's a certain number of hours in the day. And if you may be listening to this, you may say, oh, yeah, I've already taken those courses, or I just don't have time. Well, we do have learning videos that are going to be portable and practical. And what that means is you can watch them wherever you are. It's going to be bite-sized pieces, so it's basically about an hour for each one of these, and you can pick which one that you want. If you want to look at the buildings of the future or how to set effective and realistic sustainability goals for your facility, you can choose that or save money and bundle them all together. If you're a CFM and you're looking for some activities where you would be able to include that on your recertification list of points. Or if you have any other kind of certification, if you're lead AP and you need CEUs, these are great ways to be able to add to your knowledge quickly in something that is portable and practical. I really like that phrase because that's what
Mhm.
these are.
And so our challenge to you is while you're thinking globally, act locally. And the best way to do that is to understand where you are starting out, where your end goal is, and then just work piece by piece to get there. Earning your SFP or even going through the sustainability course, either way is going to help you get to that end goal. Here at IFMA, our challenge is to always have an educational journey, whether that's through our training or other training. But as an FM, you see things change quickly, and then you have to adapt. So always having that knowledge and education will definitely help you be the best prepared FM for whatever comes your way. So that would be yes.
Yeah, and I mean, just to echo what you're saying, Gail, always have that curiosity, always have the desire to continue to learn. The profession continues to grow. We're not even touching on the digital transformation that has taken place. All the sensors and the data that's coming at you, which is part of how you're going to be reporting on the changes that you would be making in your building. And I will say, some FMs have shared with me that it's hard to get buy in, it's hard to get the C suite um, to want to put money in the budget for some of the initiatives that they want to start. And this is where I'm going to share, if you are needing to influence someone who is not in the facility realm, the best way to demonstrate your knowledge is to earn a professional credential so that you are John or Jane, comma FMP, comma SFP, comma CFM, because that formal training can let somebody know that not only do you have this experience and expertise, but you have this formal training and you have been recognized as having that knowledge. And this is where you can sit at the table with those who have their various degrees and certifications and be able to say, I do know what I'm talking about. This is not just something that I've thought up. These are data driven decisions and reasons for these changes. So definitely lead the change because it is through you, the facility management professional. Whatever your title is, if you have an impact on a facility, then you are the person that we're talking to, and we encourage you and challenge you to be a part of the change.
And if you're not sure where to start, feel free to jump on our website, take the Career Compass. It's a very quick, I say 2-minute survey, it's probably less time than that. And it really points you in the direction. So if you're, again, unsure if you need to start with the sustainability course, Kim mentioned the time factor. Maybe you don't think you can carve out enough time. Start there, get those concepts working, get your brain moving in that direction. And then as you start to see, oh, I can spend 30 minutes to an hour every day focusing on, whatever chapter or whatever my journey is, then you can move into the SFP. But again, if you're not sure, fill out the Career Compass. Somebody from our team will definitely be reaching out to you to help you understand what your starting point is, what your end goal is, so that we can help move you in that direction.
Exactly right.
My favorite slide.
So, for those of you who are still with us or watching us after this is no longer live, through April 30th, this month of 2023, you have two different ways that you can save money. First of all, if you go to the Career Compass or you're looking at our course catalog and you say, I'm going to focus on one competency, which does include the sustainability course, then this code, You're Learning 50, will save $50 US off any one of those courses. If you would like to earn your FMP, maybe you're saying, okay, I did the Career Compass, or I've listened to what Gail and Kim said. I'm not sure that I have that really strong foundation in these 4 competency areas. So I'm going to start with the FMP. Your Learning 100 will save you $100 off of that. But if you are ready to accept that challenge that we've given you to go for your SFP, then this same code will save you $100 off the SFP program. Or if you're an FMP, you may want to cover all of the other 7 competencies, then you can get that core competency course bundle and save $100 off of that. There is a GSA schedule contract number there for a reason. IFMA is on the GSA schedule, so that's the General Service Administration. If you are in a federal agency, we have special pricing for you, and we would love for you to go ahead and register for any one of these. You will have GSA pricing, and you can still apply those specific saving codes to still save even more money. And
Yep,
I
I
think,
was
Gail,
just yep.
go for it. You do it.
It does say that you don't have to be a member to take advantage of the pricing. And that is very true. You don't have to be a member to take any of the training that we offer, look at any of the videos. But it does benefit you to become a member in so many ways. And I think
Mhm.
on the next slide, it shows that. Yes.
Yeah,
Um,
look at you.
I was like, wait a minute, I think so. But you will have access to the knowledge library. So you would be able to watch previous webinars that we've done. You'd have access to any white papers that we have. Actually, kind of that just houses everything. You would also have access to our Engage forum. And we do have new pages for people who are looking to become CFMs or are already CFMs, same for the FMP and the SFP credentials.
Oh,
So
on Engage?
on Engage, yes.
There
So
are
if you have any
different groups.
questions or if you need any support,
Yep.
become a member, log into those groups, and then you will have all the support there that you could possibly imagine. And then there's also research and benchmarking reports that you would also have access to.
Yep. So being a member it definitely helps you become part of a community, to connect with others that are doing what you do, maybe in a different type of industry, maybe the same industry, but it allows you to connect and to communicate and share those best practices, excuse me, together. There's a lot of different ways for you to learn and absorb knowledge. There's on the job training, absolutely, but then there's a way to connect in with other FMs. So consider IFMA membership, and the nice thing is it will save you money on any training that you would like to purchase through IFMA.
And then I don't know if any questions have
I
come
think
in,
that's it.
but if questions do, come up that after you're watching this, you can definitely send those questions to us at corporateconnections@ifma.org, and we will always be available, ready to get those questions answered for you.
Mm-hmm. Gail, would there be any, like, if you could leave somebody with one idea, what would it be from this Earth Day, every day, all of the things we've talked about?
Start assessing your company, your building, whatever footprint that you have. Just start assessing it, see where you are, where your starting point is, and see what makes sense to start doing to make
Mhm.
that change, to be that change. Because only you can prevent forest fires. No, only you can be the person that starts the implementation of saving the earth. So I would say start that, because that will show you what you want to see, right? Those numbers
Yeah.
going in the right direction. And
If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And so you really do need to have those measurements in place or be thinking about how you can do that. If you don't know where to start, then I would say start with the SFP because it's going to help you with that. The one thing that I want to leave people with is getting anybody for change management, right, to change the way that they behave, what they do. You would be surprised as a facility manager what power you have. And an example that I'm going to share with you, and this is where I'm going to leave it, is consider the products that you're purchasing for use in your facility. So specifically, I'm talking about cups. So if you have single use cups and you want people to use reusable cups like ceramic mugs or glasses, um, don't buy any more reusable cups or put them in only a place where you have visitors, not in the area where you have amenities for the staff that are there every day. Maybe change the material of the product that you're purchasing. So you don't have to change people for the cutlery that they use, just change the cutlery, change the cups. And I thought that that was an incredible difference, and people will adapt and they will understand and then have a report on how much you've improved the amount of material that you're sending to the landfill or to the recycle bins and show the decrease in tonnage. That is amazing. So I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you so much for joining us.
yes, thank you guys very much. And we will always be here to help answer any questions.
Yep. Have a great day.